One of the fastest ways to grow your business is to take advantage of other people's audiences using partnerships. And in this video, we're going to talk through the 4 different kinds of partnerships that you can make, the pros, the cons, and then we're going to talk about how to decide which one's right for you. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you a story about a friend of mine who managed to do not 1, not 2, not 3, but all 4 of these different partnership models in the same partnership. So let's jump in. So the first thing that you need to understand before we even go into all these 4 is timing. So what's interesting is if you looked at a graph of the right time to go after partnerships in the life cycle of your business, you either want to do it right at the very beginning, definitely not for probably the next 6 to 12 months after that, or the next best time to do it is later on when you've got the ability to hire someone else to focus on building partnerships for you. And the reason is it does use up a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So if you're right at the beginning and you just need to get some people on board, you don't have a lot of customers to support yet, you don't have a large team to manage, you don't have to do too many other things, your job is just to get customers, one of the highest and best uses of your time is to go out and build partnership relationships. If you've already got some other marketing channels working, you're starting to grow your team, you're looking at raising funding, you've got all this other stuff on your plate, you're not going to have time to go out and find new partners realistically. So that's why there's this bit of, this drop in the middle where it's just not a good time to focus on partnerships. And then once you stabilize and you get to a point where you've got some revenue coming in and you can afford to hire someone else to manage partnerships full time, that's the next best time, and you can kind of continue on from there. So just really important to bear in mind that U-shape part with partnerships. So affiliates and sponsorships are 2 sides of the same coin, right? So the nature of that relationship is that you give them money and they give you exposure to their audience. The difference between them is when you pay them. So affiliates, and I probably prefer affiliates to be honest, but affiliates are always performance-based. So you don't have to spend any money until they send you a paying customer. They send you a paying customer, you give them a slice. Sponsorships, you give them the money up front, then they go and do the promotion. You might get some customers out of it, you might not. The difference is that a lot of people are not willing to work on a performance basis, so that's why you might investigate sponsorships. So in terms of affiliates, the main advantage of going after affiliates is that you don't have to spend any money up front. If you join an affiliate network, you can tap into an existing group of affiliates, and these guys are all professionals, that's their business. So they will not muck around or waste time. You don't have to spend a lot of time getting them to actually follow through. You give them all the information they need, they'll go out and promote it. So the downside of using an affiliate network is that because they're professionals, they're very ruthless. If your offer doesn't work, they'll give it a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, and then they'll drop you and they'll start promoting your competitor instead. So just bear in mind that you don't want to be reliant on affiliates to run your business. If you want to use a pre-existing network, you could use Commission Junction, ClickBank if you've got info products typically, but you can use software there, Share a Sale, JVZoo. There's a whole bunch of other affiliate networks out there, just kind of Google it. But the alternative to using a pre-existing affiliate network is to roll your own. Now, there's a whole lot of software products out there that allow you to create your own affiliate program. And the advantage in doing that is that you get to control who's in that program. So you can make sure that you're not allowing just anyone to join. You can be very selective about who you let in. So you know that they're not going to trample on your brand, they're not going to do anything dodgy, nothing like that. The other advantage is that you can often tie into some of these other partnerships we're going to talk about in a moment, particularly content. The downside of rolling your own affiliate network though is that you've got to go out and find the affiliates in the first place, and that requires a lot of time and a lot of legwork. So generally, if you're just starting out, it's probably easier to just sign up to an affiliate network, tap into that. You might get some sales out of it, you might not, but you don't have to invest a whole lot of time and effort and energy in doing that. And then you can go back and roll your own later on once you're a bit more established. Sponsorships work a little bit differently. So with a sponsorship, you give them money and they promote you to your audience. You might get some sales from that, you might not. Now, here's the thing, in a perfect world, everyone would work on a strictly performance basis, so there's no risk to you. In reality, not everyone works that way, which is why sometimes you'll need to sponsor things instead of working on an affiliate basis. The good thing about sponsorships is that if you find a good one, it can actually be a really cheap way to acquire customers. The tricky part is finding the good one in the first place. So if you're just starting out, there's 2 really good networks you can join. One's called Paved, and the other one's called Buy Sell Ads. But Ideally, what you want to do is go and find sponsorship placements that other people don't know about. So you can sponsor all kinds of different things. You can sponsor Facebook groups, you can sponsor subreddits, you can sponsor communities, Slack groups, all kinds of stuff. And what you're really looking for there is go and find a community that no one else is sponsoring, and they don't even advertise that they have sponsored posts or sponsored placements, because then you can probably work out a really, really low cost and no one else is doing it, so there's no competition. So referrals work in a fairly similar way to affiliates or sponsorships, in that they promote you to their audience and you get new customers in return. The key difference between referrals and affiliates or sponsors, though, is that generally people making referrals are your existing customers. And the reason they're making the referral is not because they want to get paid necessarily. Generally speaking, the main reason they want to make the referral is because they like your product and they want more of it. So many years ago, I used to work for a company that was competing with Shopify. It was in the e-commerce space. And when I first started the job, I asked them if they had a referral program in place. And he goes, yeah, but it's not working too well. I don't know, have a look at it. When I dived into it a little bit deeper, it turns out that they had an affiliate program. I think they were on Share a Sale or something like that, which is totally fine if you're using affiliates to get new customers. But when I asked some of our existing customers why they weren't making any referrals, they said, I feel a little bit weird taking money when I'm telling my friend to use this software tool. And so that was a really interesting insight for us, because it kind of unlocked this whole idea that if we're going to do a referral program, we can't just slap on an affiliate program. They are different things and we need to have something else. So what we did instead, and this is something you might want to do in your SaaS, for a referral program, you want to give them access to something more of what they're currently getting. So if they're on one current pricing tier, maybe you unlock additional usage or additional volume for them. Maybe they can jump up to the next highest tier without having to pay for it if they make a certain number of referrals. Maybe you could even give them lifetime access for free if they make, say, 10 different referrals or something like that. You'll need to do the numbers to make sure it makes sense for your business, but I've seen companies do that before, and that's a really powerful incentive to go out and refer 10 other customers. And if you think about it, if they've sent you 10 customers, you can probably afford to give them lifetime access. That's probably fair enough. So how do you structure a referral program? Well, generally the best way to do it is what's called a double-sided referral program. So what that means, and you've seen this before, Uber does it, Dropbox does it, so you get something and your friend gets something as well. If only one of you benefits, then there's no real reason for them to sign up, and if only a friend benefits, then there's no real reason for you to make the referral in the first place. So if everyone wins and you both get some kind of an incentive, it's generally the best. Now, Dropbox did this by offering free storage. So you sign up for their free plan, and you get a little bit of space, and then if you do a bunch of things, a lot of them lead you down the path of making referrals to your friends, then you get a bit of extra space for free, and your friend also gets a bit of extra space for free. Everyone wins. Dropbox's referral program was really the engine that grew that business. PayPal did a similar thing, Uber does the same thing, Wise does the same thing. The double-ended incentive works. So the downside of referrals is that really the only people who are going to do it are customers who already love your product. So if you don't have a good product yet, or your customers don't love it, they like it, but they don't love it, a referral program may not be as effective as some of these other partnership models, but it's definitely something worth thinking about. So content collaboration. This is the one that I recommend for most SaaS businesses when you're just starting out, because it doesn't cost you anything. So this is probably the juiciest one too. It's not just a one-way relationship. You can make it a two-way relationship as well. And if you build a really good content collaboration, then that can lead into an affiliate relationship, might work into a referral relationship if they become a customer. It can help you with integrations. So this kind of unlocks all these other partnership types, which is why I think it's so valuable. So a content collaboration at a really high level is that you supply this person with some content that's interesting for their audience, and they give you exposure to their audience in return. Now that can take a few different forms. You might want to appear as a guest on their podcast. You might want to write a guest post for their blog. Maybe you want to be on their YouTube channel. Maybe you want to run a webinar with them. There's lots of different ways that you can contribute content. All of that works even if you don't have an email list or an audience or anything. All you've got to contribute is the knowledge in your head and your ability to present that knowledge in a way that's useful and actionable for their audience. So if you don't have an audience, this can be really valuable. If you do have an audience, it can be even more valuable. So what you can do, if you have a Facebook group or a community or an email list or some kind of asset that you can give other people exposure to, you can swap. So you can interview them on your YouTube channel, they interview you on theirs. You can run a webinar for their group, they can run a webinar for your group. There's a guy that I know that's done really well at it. He does his Saturday list swaps. So basically what he does is he goes and finds other people that are also selling to small business owners. They have an email list, and he says every Saturday, I'm going to send an email out to my list with your lead magnet on it. So he's giving them free value. And what I want in return is you go out and you send my lead magnet to your audience. And so this doesn't cost either of them any money. They're always getting new leads as a result of it. I think he gets like between 100 and 200 new leads every week as a result of this for no money. And all he has to do is just find someone who has an email list and say, hey, do you want to do this thing? So there's a little bit of legwork involved, but really once you've got it all set up, he's doing amazingly out of it. If you multiply that out over a year, that's between 1,000 and say 2,500 new leads every year that he's getting for free, purely because he's engaging in content collaboration partnerships by doing those list swaps. So if you're just starting out and you don't know who you should be partnering with for a content collaboration, let me make it easy for you. The first step is to look in the mirror. Seriously, think about it. Do a really deep dive on who you are as an entrepreneur and what you're good at. So for example, I'm a lot better on video and I'm a lot better at talking on podcasts. I'm realistically going to struggle to sit down and write a blog post. So the kind of content collaborators that I'm looking for have a YouTube channel, they have a podcast, maybe they've got a Facebook group or something where I can stick a video in there, and that's going to be a much better fit for me because I can create content that's going to be valuable and useful to them relatively easily. But let's say you're not that confident on video, or you don't really like talking so much, you're much better as a writer. Okay, then the best thing that you can do is go out, Google all the blogs that are talking about topics that your audience is interested in, write some guest posts. Or write a guide that would be useful for them to distribute to their audience, or write a playbook that they can use as a lead magnet and co-brand it. There are lots of different ways you can do it. Just think about the knowledge that you have and your best way of delivering that knowledge, and that'll tell you the kind of content collaboration that you want to find. And all you need to do then is go and find someone who has that sort of audience and give them the content. There is one downside to content collaboration though. So out of all of these four, you're very rarely going to get many sales directly from content collaboration, okay? Think of this as more of a long-term audience building strategy. So what you're really aiming to do with content collaboration is you want people to discover who you are, you want to get them to join your email list or subscribe to your YouTube channel or join your Facebook group, whatever the first step in the top of your funnel is. You want them to take that step, download your lead magnet, whatever it is, and then you want to be able to upsell them from there. So if you think about content collaboration more in terms of building relationships, getting leads in the top of the funnel, starting the conversation, and then converting them later on, you'll do well. If you're approaching content collaboration from the perspective of, I need sales immediately, it's probably not the right channel. That brings us to integrations. Now, if you've done that exercise, you looked in the mirror and you thought, okay, maybe I'm not that great on video, maybe I'm not that great on podcasts, and maybe I'm not that great a writer either, but you know what? I'm a really good coder. I can probably build something that will get me more customers. So if your first instinct is to code your way out of problems, then maybe integrations are what you're looking for in terms of partnerships. So at a really high level, an integration is simply where you get your app to talk to another app, you exchange information between them so that you can make both those things more useful. So you can integrate directly with another product using APIs, or you can go and use something like Zapier or Make and connect with them, and then you'll be able to access lots of different apps. So 2 words of caution. First one is about app stores. Now, there was a time when app stores were a great source of traffic because they were new and novel and there weren't many integrations in there. As it's become more mainstream and everything integrates with everything else now, you're not going to get as much traffic or as many new customers just by creating an integration. You need to be strategic about how you use that integration rather than just creating one for the sake of getting customers. Now, the second word of caution, if you are a technical founder, is that it is very easy to go down the I will build another integration rabbit hole. And so you spend weeks and weeks and weeks telling yourself that you're working on marketing and getting more customers. In reality, all you're doing is just building and building more features and building more integrations. So what you need to do is, if you're a technical founder and you know you've got a tendency to focus on building more stuff rather than selling what you've already got, if that's the kind of founder you are, Make sure when you're building integrations, write down, okay, how many customers am I likely to get if I build this integration or not? If you're building an integration to get customers, that is very different to building an integration to make your product more awesome. They're both useful things to do, but don't kid yourself that you're getting more customers when all you're doing is working on product. So I promised at the start of the video that I'd tell you a story about a guy who actually managed to do all 4 of these things in the same partnership. So I'm going to tell you that story now. So my friend runs an SEO tool, and what it does is it finds backlink opportunities for you. Now that's helpful, but what's more helpful is if there's a service that will go out and actually get the backlinks for you. So he realized this pretty early on. He found an agency that would go out and place the backlinks. So he approached them and said, look, guys, I've written a guest post for you that explains how to use my tool to find these opportunities and then how to use your service to go and actually capitalize them. Can I place this on your blog? And they said, yep, that's fine. So awesome. So that's the first content collaboration that he did. I think it led to a few, he got on their YouTube channel to talk about it and a few other bits and pieces. And that was really helpful. And a lot of his customers said, wow, this is great. This is making the product a lot more valuable and now I can use it. Started getting more customers. And he started keeping them for longer because it was more useful. But that wasn't far enough. He went one step further and he thought, well, okay, maybe what would be even more helpful is rather than giving them information, maybe what I could do is stick a button in my app. And so when you find the backlink opportunity, you click this button and it takes you through to our partner that's going to actually place the backlinks. So he did that. And that was working really well. People were going through all the time. His partner said, this is great. We're getting all this traffic now. This is awesome. This is way more effective than the blog post. So that's great. But then he took it a step further and he said, hey guys, if I'm sending you all this traffic now, maybe you should be giving me a slice of that revenue. So the button that he placed in his app now became an affiliate link. And every time someone clicked on that button, he got a piece of the action. As a result, so his revenue literally doubled in the space of 1 month after he made that change. One little tweak and it doubled his revenue. And then as a result of doing all of these 3 things, now his product was really easy to use. You could go in, you could find a backlink opportunity, you click a button, hey presto, you've got backlinks on the way. Now his customers go, you know what, I love this. I want to tell everyone about it. This is fantastic. So he started a referral program and really cranked that up as a result of it. The moral of the story is that if you're clever, you can use these in combination as well. You don't have to pick one and stick with it. You can use multiple of these, and using one might open doors to the next or the others or the next one. So guys, that was it. That was the 4 partnership models that you can pursue for your business. And in the next video, we're going to dive deep on exactly how to negotiate these partnerships. In particular, we're going to talk about how to get the partners to actually follow through and take action. I'll see you on the next video.